I'd like to present to you my 1990 ambulance tiny house. Now, I lived in this thing for a year and a half during one of the coldest winters that Missouri and Kansas has ever experienced. Let me walk you around it and we'll go over all the systems. So this started life as a 1990 Ford Econoline E350 ambulance. So it is a 1-ton E350 chassis. It has a naturally aspirated 7.3 liter IDI engine made by International. It's not too bad. It's pretty Spartan. Just your standard work truck with a pass-through into your bathroom. A little bit of throttle. We removed the box that had all the switchgear for the old ambulance stuff because it just wasn't needed. The sirens and the lights. And then I wired 2 switches here. This one is for a future light bar if you wanted to run a light bar on the roof. It's already wired and ready to go, and this is a spare. And then of course you have your really cool searchlight that came with the ambulance. I kept that and saved that. That's really nice. I have a mount for my iPad for navigation and streaming media through the radio. The head unit is new. I drove this thing to Florida. It's 1,000 miles there and back, and it handled flawlessly. I just needed some tunes, so I put a new head unit. The headlamps have also been upgraded to a really nice high output LED, high beam, low beam, daytime running light. So that seeing at night is no longer a problem. I have a brand new grill, aftermarket grill, nice block heater. This is your battery compartment. These batteries are brand new. I bought them this year. These do not connect to your house batteries, so that they are 2 totally separate systems. Your house batteries are 24 volt Tesla lithium ion modules. The finish on the ambulance is a industrial coating called Durabax 16. The Navy uses this finish on like piers and docks. It's extremely tough and very low maintenance. This rear compartment I've also dedicated to tool and fluid storage. You have extra belts, fuel filters, oils. All of your emergency lights have been removed off this vehicle. Per local code and ordinance, we can't have the red emergency lights, but we did keep the scene lighting. Now the scene lighting is designed to light up a crash scene or a dog scene, so you can so the paramedics could do work. Now those were halogen bulbs, and I have replaced them. So this is your rear driver and passenger side. Let's get the passenger side. I've replaced them with high intensity LED bulbs, which are far more efficient and throw a lot of light. Let me tell you, at nighttime, if you want to have a party or if you have to do any work on the rig, this will light up the perimeter around your rig almost like daylight. It's really impressive. So if you're parked in a very remote place and you hear something outside, you can reach up, flip those three switches and light up your whole perimeter. It's nice for security. It's nice for repairing if you have a problem on the trail. It's just a nice feature. I'm glad we kept those. Coming around to the back of the rig, I replaced the original taillights with new LED high output, low draw taillights. This tow bar was welded to the frame rails on both sides when I purchased this. It's a really nice heavy duty tow bar. It can be removed because it is heavy, but I went ahead and wired a really nice tow plug with trailer brakes and 12 volt service so that you can run a really nice trailer back here. Now personally, when this vehicle is loaded down with a full tank of diesel, 60 gallons of water, all my gear, all my groceries, you're pushing max vehicle weight of about 10,500 pounds. So I wouldn't tow a very heavy trailer. You could probably do dirt bikes or mountain bikes or something small like a kayak, but I wouldn't load down a really heavy duty trailer. This is your 12 volt vent fan. You can draw air in or out. That is a deck light off of a yacht. So you can open that up, and that's in your shower, and vent your shower out. These windows here are original to the ambulance, where both windows on both sides that I've added are double pane insulated RV windows. This one slides right open for your kitchen. course, the mini split heat pump, which that does run off batteries. Another magnetic camera mount for an Arlo camera system. And then these hooks here, I run Christmas lights or just ambiance lights. Then this is your plug-in. If you want to plug in, you can. I've only plugged in with this dongle here because you don't need a huge power source when you have the size of the power system that we have here. If you've ever ridden one of these older ambulances, they were sprung very soft for a comfortable ride. They were not sprung for maximum vehicle weight. I installed a Bluetooth airbag system. So each side has a load lift airbag system. Right now we're at 30 PSI. I can drop down to 5. If you look closely, you'll notice it starts to drop a little bit, and I can raise the whole system up to, you can go all the way up to about 80 or 90 PSI. Also, this allows you to load level, so you can change the passenger side or driver's side bag independently and load and level the vehicle out. So if you ever park on a weird surface or an uneven surface, you can have a decent night's sleep. So my build philosophy behind this rig was I wanted a true 4-season, fully livable space that was completely ready for boondocking and off-grid type living. I didn't want to run a generator, and I didn't want to have to go source propane. So with the 1,340 watts of solar on the roof, and the fact that my hot water heater and my main heat are diesel driven, as long as you can find diesel and you can find water, you can, in theory, live in this pretty much perpetually. Take you inside, I'll have a look around. First thing walking into your immediate right, I keep this broom for just, cleaning the floors and stuff, and a fire extinguisher. Very important to have that. This custom little catch-all shelf, you'll put knickknacks, your wallet, whatever you need in here. And then there's a nice big storage spot up here. This is where I used to keep my boots or my gloves or anything wet, because there's your vent fan right there. And we have a smoke and carbon monoxide detector. To your immediate left, did I say left? To your immediate left, you have a 55-gallon freshwater tank. Now that's mounted up inside the vehicle so that it will not freeze in the winter. And this is your fill for that tank. I put the fill right by the door. I didn't want to put the fill outside because I didn't want anybody tampering with my fresh water or potentially poisoning it or doing anything. I wanted complete control over my fresh water. And it's very easy to run a hose, open the door. This is all aluminum. Run a hose right here and fill it up. And you can watch your water supply in this sight glass. Then you have your countertop. This is an 1.5 inches thick, almost 7 feet long, butcher block countertop. Right by the front door here, I mounted this little LED light switch that controls your under cabinet lighting. This way, when you come in, if the cab is completely dark or if your room's totally dark, you can press that one light right by the door and see. You have this solid core flooring that is also moisture resistant. And straight ahead, I usually put like a garbage can or my laundry here, but it's a nice little catch-all if you wanted to put a rack for shoes, but there's this nice big sort of spot right there where you can put things. You'll notice you have this main sort of power center. This is a really nice fridge freezer combo. Now it's on 500-pound drawer sliders, so it slides out. And the fact that it's on these sliders and it tucks out of the way is really nice. And then that's a lock so it doesn't come out while you're driving. And you have a microwave. Now let me mention that all of this electrical equipment, all of it runs off the Tesla modules. I don't have a generator, all standalone off the solar and the 2 Tesla batteries. So just keep that in mind. This is your main power center. There's your batteries, DC power, your inverter, your solar charger, AC loads, and then this is AC power coming in. We're not plugged in right now, but this would show you how much power you have coming in if you need it. And this is your current battery state. Your current amps, your temperature. This is your main light switch. It's kind of a weird little switch. You just touch it. You just go tap and it turns the lights on. All the way through the whole center of the cab. And I love this cedar ceiling. And these aluminum support brackets are for the structure. That's another reason why I use an ambulance, is the whole back cab is 2x2 aluminum tubing, and it's actually designed to survive a rollover in case of an accident. I don't know of any other RVs that are designed to survive a rollover or to have people actually occupy the back. So the structure back here is very rigid and very tough. And that's a main premise of this whole build. Tough, reliable. I want it to last a very long time. That's why I went with an ambulance. These are also dimmable because they can be very, very bright. So you just push and hold, you just tap and hold. You'll notice they'll dim all the way down to almost nothing. And then tap like this, turn off, and tap, turn back on. This main switch, now I just drew these on with a paint pen. You can take a acetone or like fingernail polish remover and take these off and put labels on if you want. But this is rear, driver, passenger. Those are scene lights outside. These are box lights, little lights in those outside storage boxes. This is the heat. There's an entire heater section here that runs your hydronic heat system. And I have a hydronic radiator here for from water to air heat. This is your water system. Turn this on, and it turns on all of your plumbing under here. Turns on your pump, your accumulator. There's your storage tank. There's a water filter. I wanted to be able to filter my drinking water like that. Hot and cold water. Got some hooks here for coffee cups. Then another mount for my iPad so I could actually watch TV. I use my iPad as a TV most of the time. That's the pump kicking on right now. Building up pressure. Last switch is your shower. So in this door here, there is a composting toilet and a 2-foot by 2-foot shower. I am 6'1", and I can shower in this shower. So if I can do it, unless you're 6'5" or massive, you should be able to do it too. There's your composting toilet. You have a rack for toiletries. This is that outside deck light I was telling you about. It opens up like that, so you have a nice view while you're showering. And your shower curtain. Kind of billows out to give you room. If you look at the shower head, it's a low flow, high efficiency telephone style of head. You're thinking, is that a cold water only shower? And the answer is no. I decided that I really didn't need hot and cold spigots in the shower. So I ran a mixing valve right here. So you can dial in and set your ideal shower temperature right from here, and then one feed line goes to the shower. Meaning that once you set it, you never have to ever bother with it again. Now I could see if you had, if you have a couple that live in this and she likes really, really hot showers and he likes cold showers, that might be a little bit of debate, but it's very easy to turn, so you could adjust it. She could take a shower, and then he could take a shower, and they could adjust it right on the fly. So it's not a huge deal. As you can imagine, storage is a super big thing, and I lived in this for over a year by myself. So I've mounted all of these little cool brass hands for hanging things, towels, hats. Hang your hat there. I did retain some of the doors out of the original ambulance themselves. I like the finish of them. I like the way they slide and they won't come open. So I've mounted lights. That's lit, and this is lit. This was my pantry, primarily. It's nice and deep, pretty tall. So I kept this absolutely full of foodstuffs. These two over here was primarily my clothes. And this is also nice and deep. I can have a hard time reaching the back. Very long. And I could keep all my winter and summer clothes in here. I had little cloth baskets. I'd keep my underwear, my socks, and my shirts, and then further on down. This brings us around to the seating area. Now these are custom memory foam cushions made by my family. And this is a very nice, comfortable booth. You can seat a lot of people in here. It's a very nice place to sit and look out the window or sit and eat. This is roughly 7 feet long and almost 5 feet wide. So it's about the size of a queen size bed. And as far as storage is concerned, if you pull the pads up out of the way, there is storage. Like, these are all your manuals, plus there's an atlas down there. And then back behind this large, you have 2 more storage bins. I kept linens under here, or towels, or pillows. Both of those. This is full length storage. For this side over here, I wanted to leave the bottom notch because you could put shoes and boots and things you want to get in and out of easily. The top also opens, but I like that being open in the bottom like that. And you may be wondering what that hole is. I will show you what that hole is for when we go outside. Just remember, there's a hole there. And now you're like, where do you sleep? That's what this is for. It's a really nice heavy-duty pedestal, marine grade pedestal. Just unlock it, push it down. Now that it's down, how the table drops intersects your seating. Pull off your 2 rear pads. Tuck them right in like that. I'd usually lay a blanket and then a sheet. Put my pillows. And you have a nice bed, which you can lay in. 2 people can sleep in this, no problem. Now moving on to a mini split heat pump. This is a true 9,000 BTU mini split heat pump. Now it's on. It's set to 70. And yes, this thing will run off the batteries. Now, in the dead of summer, if I could park my rig where I got full sunshine during the day, I could run this pretty much all day and not deplete the batteries, because the solar produce enough energy to outpace the draw. So when the interior is cool and it's not running at full capacity, like it's not really having to cool the inside down from say it's 80 or 90 in here, this thing idles at like 280 watts, less than 500 watts. Now when it's really cranking, like if you go shopping, you leave everything closed up and turned off, you come in and it's like 100 in here, it'll push 1,000 watts. But with 1,300 watts of solar, as you can imagine, I can watch TV, I can cook a meal, and run the air conditioner all day during the summer and not have a problem at all. The other thing you can do is you can open the windows during the day and save your mini split for nighttime. So you can charge your batteries all day, you can make hot water, you can do all kinds of stuff with your solar, and then at night you can run your mini split almost all night. And like I said, once it draws the temperature down in the room, which is a small space, it's 98 square feet, it just idles. To give you an idea, right now, we're pulling 9 watts. That's just the fan. The fan is running, if you can hear it. It's pulling 9 watts of power. So the compressor isn't even on. So just the fan by itself pulls very little. Let's see if I can drop the temperature down here to like 65. That should increase the draw. Now you can watch. Now we're drawing 131, 147, 188. We're not in full sun right now. I'm in the shade. So the batteries were at 100%. So as this load increased, the available power will also increase. I hear the compressor. See, we're really shaded right now. Compressor is running. It's a very efficient mini split. I'm super pleased with it. It's one of the best things I have ever done. Now, this is a heat pump, so it will also produce heat. While I don't recommend it to provide you heat in the dead of winter, I like the diesel-fired heater better. It is a really nice stopgap. Like if you're going to go shopping and you don't want to leave your diesel fireplace going, you could put this at 55 or 60, and it will keep your cab nice and warm down to about, I believe it works down to 12 degrees Fahrenheit. So far below 0 Celsius. Yeah. So we've talked about keeping yourself cool in the summertime, and you've got a couple options, you know, the mini split heat pump, and then you have your vent fan there. I like them both. Warmth. Being warm in the winter and not having a floor that freezes, that's vital. So when I built this, I ran PEX through the whole floor, and that PEX runs into a tank. I think it'd be best just to show you. So this and this are your two heating sources. Here's the chimney for your heater, your fireplace. The whole system starts with this. This is a diesel-fired hot water heater. Primarily, these hot water heaters are used on big rig trucks and big diesel engines. So they'll plumb this diesel-fired heater into the coolant lines of the engine, and they can kill the big diesel engine, and they can run this little hot water heater, and it will heat the engine, keep the engine from freezing, and it will provide cab heat for the driver if he or she wants to take a nap. They have heat, and it sips diesel versus a big multi-liter diesel engine idling, drawing a lot of diesel. So they're very efficient. So I got one of those, put on a controller, and run its output. So this is the input, this is the output. It runs up into this. Now, what you can't see is there is a 6-gallon aluminum tank, a water tank. Now, it's not water, it's actually RV antifreeze. So what I'm doing is that hot water heater, that diesel hot water heater, it heats RV antifreeze and fills this tank. It heats it to about 186 degrees Fahrenheit. From there, this pump runs it through the floor. So we have control of the floor. We can turn that switch on and run all that hot water through the floor, and the floor stays toasty warm. Even when it's negative 14 degrees outside, your floor will not freeze. Also, you take the output of this tank and you run it into your hot water heater. Now this is your bathing and drinking and dishwashing water. Easy. So that hot RV antifreeze runs into a loop in here. They don't mix, so your drinking water and your cooking water are separate. They typically do this on boats where the boat engine will heat the water. There's also one more way to make hot water. There is an electrical element in here. Now it is a big draw. It's like 1700 watts or 1500 watts. So what I use that for is during the day, once the solar has charged my batteries to 100% and I still have sunshine left, I will flip a switch under the sink and start harvesting sunshine to make hot water electrically. And then I will store my night's shower water in here. It's about 6 gallons. During the day when the batteries are full and everything is fine, I will flip the switch and start making hot water and store that sunshine via heat in my water tank. So you have that 6-gallon tank of hot antifreeze, and it's great for warming the floors, and it's great for making hot shower water, but it wasn't doing anything to warm the air of the cab, and I wanted to find a way to warm the air. So I installed this, it's actually a PC radiator with very quiet fans behind it on a thermostat, and by pumping that hot coolant through this radiator and having it on a thermostat, let's go ahead and turn the heat on. That turns the heat on. That provides power. So here's how all this works. This is the controller that came with that diesel-fired hot water heater, and this runs that hot water heater. This is a controller that is connected to the tank, the actual 6-gallon tank. This turns this on and off when I want it to, not when they want it to, because they didn't have an actual thermostat built into this. So this is basically a glorified thermostat that lets me turn that hot water heater on and off as I see fit. Now this, so this is Celsius to match this. Now this is Fahrenheit. Now this is a thermostat for this. This controls the temperature of the air in the cab, and you can set how hot or cold you want the air in here. And then this is a speed control that allows me to ramp up or down the fans. So it's actually quite nice because you can sleep here at night. You can have a lovely warm breeze blowing across you, so you're never cold. So this little icon right there, little hot coffee icon, means that it's on. It just fired on. There is your exhaust pipe right there. That ticking sound is the fuel pump. And now it's starting to spool up and run. It sounds like a little jet engine. The reason why I brought up the noise is obviously this is not a stealth camping rig. I did not design this for stealth camping. I designed this for boondock camping. And the diesel hot water heater is probably the loudest thing on the rig, besides the big engine itself. And then lastly, this button here controls the fuel pump. So this is a wonderful, very, very simple mechanical Newport diesel heater by Dickinson. I love this heater, absolutely love it. I've done a whole video about this heater, but because the fuel tank is lower than the fuel pot, I had to buy a Dickinson fuel pump, and this controls that on and off to control the heater. Now the Newport heater is your primary source of serious heat when you're cold, and I love this because it's dead simple. Now, yeah, this is very complicated, all this stuff up here to run your floor and to run your forced air heat. So I wanted, in case any of this goes down, I wanted a dead simple and reliable heat source that I could rely on to keep me and my rig from freezing and dying in case it was super, super cold. I opted to have the coolant loop installed in this. And what that means is when you're running your Newport diesel heater, there is a stainless loop also plumbed into your 6-gallon coolant tank, your 6-gallon antifreeze tank, also making hot water, basically. This also makes hot water, meaning that you can run this and heat that big tank up and then run that tank through your floor. I don't know if you hear that pump going, but it's going right now. It's running that tank through the floor. And you can have warm floors, warm water to wash your hands and shave and bathe in, all from this and supplemented with this. So it's really a nice system to be able to take the heat of this stove and pump it through your whole cab to help you survive the really, really cold conditions. In fact, when we had that Arctic vortex, whatever they called it, I only had one pipe freeze because I purposely mounted all my pipes up in the cab to prevent them from freezing. It was the shower line. The shower line runs along the floor and along the edge of the wall, and when it got super cold, like -14 Fahrenheit, my shower line froze like 3 days. But other than that, nothing else froze. Everything worked great. Other cabinets outside this is just a storage cabinet. It's got a carpet in here right now. It's just an empty storage cabinet. It's got power in here, so this is what I use around my Christmas lights. Side of the rig, this is one of your tallest cabinets. I normally put like beach umbrellas or lounge chairs, or you could store like a stand-up paddleboard in here, but this is just open storage. It's also ventilated, so if you had something damp, it could eventually vent. And this is probably the most expensive and most important cabinet that I've built. This is your power system. So what you have pretty much is, if you can follow me, these are your solar panels on the roof. You have 4 solar panels, 1,340 watts of power, and these are breakers for that. And they come down and they feed into this blue solar charge controller. This is a Victron solar charge controller, and the reason why we did Victron was because these are 2 Tesla modules. And this is a heating blanket in between them to keep them warm. Tesla modules are sensitive to temperature and being overcharged. So I used Victron because Victron allows me to accurately adjust the charging profiles and temperature control so that these never freeze and I never charge them when they're frozen. That's very important. So from the solar charge controller, Solar panels come in, power comes out. We have a main on-off switch that kills the entire system. From there, this is also a smart battery protect shunt, which will also shut the system down automatically in case I'm not here to turn this off. And you have multiple fuses that also protect the system. This is a step-down converter. Now, these batteries run at a little less than 24 volts, but nothing in the cab runs on 24 volts. So this converts 24 into 12. Actually, it's like 13.4 volts. So all your 12-volt systems, the fridge freezer, all your heaters, all your fans inside, they all run off 13.4 volts, which is pretty much ideal. Then this is your inverter. This converts 24 volts into 24 volts DC into 120 volts AC. This is a 3,000 watt multi-plus inverter, 24 volts, 3,000 watt, 70 amps. This will run everything you need. It'll run the air conditioner. It'll run the induction cooktop. It'll run the microwave. It'll run the fridge freezer. I have yet to overload this thing. It's a really good inverter, and it's a smart inverter. There is a GPS module hidden in this rig that tells me where this rig is within a few feet, and it all comes from this Victron inverter. So coming out of the inverter, you have a lot of wires to connect the inverter if you need to program it, but you have your main AC loads come, and then you have your AC side. So this is DC side, this is your AC side of the equation. So your AC loads going into your house, and then you have two DC 12 volt circuit or fuse boxes. This is from the motor. So this is a fuse box from the batteries that we saw in the battery box. So these are like exterior lights or anything you want to run off of your motor circuit. This is your house circuit. These are 12 volt loads that are fused that come off this house batteries. Now it's turned off right now. It's hard to see. Actually, it's on, but this is a temperature controller that controls this heating blanket, and you have a spare. I have spares for pretty much everything. This sits down in beside here and turns on at about 40 degrees Fahrenheit to keep these from freezing. So that hole that was inside, when you pull the fridge out, you reach down through that hole. That allows you to actually access this, and you can manually lock this door. Because as you can imagine, the bulk of the money in this rig is inside this cabinet. So having a manual lock that you can lock from the inside to where someone have to take a pry bar to pry it open, in my opinion, it's an important security feature. I think we've covered all our bases. You are warm in the winter. Your floor is not frozen. You have warm water to take a shower. You are cool in the summertime. When you have sunshine, you have all the electricity you would ever need to cook and to power electronics and to run your heat pump, your mini split heat pump. Yeah, I lived in this full time for over a year, and I really wanted for nothing. My life was pretty much sort of sacrifice free. Sometimes you have to make sacrifices, but this really wasn't. I love the composting toilet. It's one of my favorite features. I love not having a black tank. We have a gray tank, but I use biodegradable soaps, and so I try not to use the gray tank very much, but we have a gray tank. So I like my sink and my shower just to run out as long as the soap that you're using is appropriate. But yeah, I'm gonna miss this rig. I've really enjoyed it, but as life progresses, life goes on, and I might build something a little bigger. But the reason why I also did an ambulance is because it's tiny enough to fit inside most any parking spots. Where if you had like a bus or a big fifth wheel, you can't drive a bus to go get groceries. You can drive this to go get groceries. So yeah, if you have any questions and you want to know more, let me know.